Hello and welcome back to another video. I know that this title might seem like you have seen it before, and you would be correct. If you don't remember, almost 2 whole years ago I started this series. It was only 2 parts, but it was a BokuAkaKuroKen Demon AU, so if you have not seen it, you should probably watch it, cause then it'll make a little bit more sense as we continue on with this second arc. Yes. 2 years later, I am finally making a second part that was very much requested, so yeah. Since some of you have been waiting a full 2 years just for a continuation of this, which honestly I still can't wrap around my head that it's been 2 years. I will not hold you much longer. Just know that content warnings will, I swear, with any of my videos is always mentions of violence and mentions of blood. So it is a Demon AU, so that is very much to be expected. But yeah, let's get to it. Hello my lovely viewers. Looking for some affordable and good quality anime merch? Want to support your favorite Haikyuu team or join UA? What about joining the Straw Hat Pirates for an adventure or two? Want to join the Black Bulls or the Fairy Tail Guild? Well, this site has that and so much more. Use my discount code and receive 10% off your entire order. Link and code is in the description. Thank you so much for watching. There has always been a missing piece of his life that felt out of place. Akashi never knew why he felt this way. But in the back of his mind, he'd always been aware of a presence so sweet, so nostalgic. It had all blurred into a mindless haze, getting lost into the void of his own head. It had been nearly 2 years since 3 people came into his life, except they weren't humans. They were each unique and special in their own way that Akashi came to love. First, Koro is a vampire who was once restricted of his only source of food just because of his status, and had only recently started feeding from Akashi, though the Raven could only accept his words to be true. Bokuto is a dark fae who just so happened to be one of the 7 deadly sins' offsprings, sin of lust, Asmodeus. Bokuto had been the one to save him from his demon professor years ago. And finally, Kenma is a Neko, only known for his long naps these days, but Akashi had learned that the blonde had been the one that wiped his memories. The Neko claimed he had to do it in order to protect Akashi. The human had been exposed to the life of demons, and it had all gone terribly wrong when his professor had grown an attachment to Akashi and planned to feast on him. In the end, it was safer to erase everything of them from his mind. However, the bond had already been sealed into their souls. It didn't take long for the demons to fall in love with the poor human. Akashi smiled fondly, running his fingers through the long and loose strands of Kenma's hair, who laid on his lap, taking one of his famously long naps. It had been 2 full years since that day at the subway when he saw the 3 demons looking sketchy as ever, yet equally alluring. In the span of 2 years, Akashi had learned to love them all over again. He'd one time asked if the memories from before could ever be restored. But with the level of Kenma's out-of-this-world power, Akashi's memories were forever burned from his head, never to be seen again. Only the demons will know of his time together with them. Yet even still, their bond was genuine enough for the love to flourish. His memories may be no longer, but the love remained. Could you stop moving? The Raven chuckled once more and smiled softly, admiring the sleeping boy on his lap, Or at least attempting to. Sorry, I can't help it. You're just too adorable, Ken. Leaning back into the couch, Kemma grumbled, feeling the toddler pull him down into a laid position, popped against his chest on the couch. I said stop moving. Akashi rolled his eyes and laughed, finding his fingers through Kemma's hair once more, relaxing once the soft purrs of the neko resumed, vibrating against his body. The peace was almost enough to make him succumb to slumber, but the sound of the front door had opened, revealing an exhausted Koro stumbling into the doorway. Within the 2 years the demons remained in the human realm, they had learned to properly disguise their demonic characteristics and obtain a human form. And Akashi had always found it amusing once Koro entered their house. He would immediately get comfortable by letting his fangs show and complain how uncomfortable it was to hide them. Forms like Bokuto's, who had horns and 2 giant wings, were a bit harder to hide, but with time he was able to hide them and sprout his wings on command. Tetsu. His azure blue eyes met crimson, like the waves of the great deep blue raging amongst the blaze of hatred. His eyes then trailed to the tracks of gore. It was no secret Tetsuro often went back to the underworld for work that had often brought him back home battered and bloodied, both his and many others' blood. Akashi quickly stirred and pulled the vampire close, taking in his scent that was mixed with iron. Do you have to do this? To be bad, can't you not kill? He whispered against his exposed collarbone, wrapping his arms over Koro's neck, smoothing his thumb over the nape of his neck, letting his fingers get lost into the sea of raven hair. The vampire only chuckled hoarsely, reciprocating the touch by pulling him closer, a hand snaking around his waist. He buried his nose into the crevice of his neck, taking in the sweet scent of Keiji. I tried, darling. His voice vibrated against his skin with deep emotion. Akashi could feel his hot breath against his skin. A quick glance towards Kemma, who was still sleeping on the couch, told him there was no use in fighting it. Do you wish to know where playing the hero got me? The vampire threaded his fingers through his shorter strands of raven, combing through it softly in a comforting gesture. Hesitantly, the human nodded. It got me stuck. Humans, demons, and angels alike, they all perished and left me with more blood than I could ever wash from my hands. Tetsuro pressed a soft kiss along his neck, gentle and reassuring, treating him as if he was the most precious thing in this world, or any world for that matter. Sometimes, it's easier to become the complacent villain in someone else's story. Instinctively, the grip around Koro tightened, wanting to shield him from whatever hell he was forced to face alone. Deep down, he was a child bound to fight an adult's battle. You're not alone anymore. The vampire pulled away, tracing Akashi's features with the tip of his finger, delicately so. That's even more reason to keep going, so I can protect you. A frown contorted his soft demeanor. I might be a human, but I'm not as defenseless as you may think. I know I'm not like you, Ken or Ko, but I'm not fragile either. But in a demon's fight, you stand no chance. He stated matter-of-factly, rather than sugarcoating it. He knew that. Despite his own convictions, Akashi was aware that he was powerless against demons. The pace shifted into a hostile aura as Akashi took a step back from Koro. Do you think I'm weak or something? I can handle myself just fine. Sensing the escalation of things, Koro sighed, going to the kitchen sink to rinse the sour blood from his hands. Well, where did I get you last time? I don't know. Why don't you tell me? Kenma wiped my memories, remember? And you all seem to avoid the subject entirely, so tell me. The human raised his voice an octave in frustration, defending himself. He had the right to know. There's a reason your memories were wiped, Keiji, so drop it. The taller's jaw clenched, his irritation visibly growing from body language alone. I'll drop it when you stop this. He dramatically swatted his hands towards Koro, who was washing the dried blood from his hands that had crusted underneath his fingernails. Bokuto had come down the stairs upon hearing all of the ruckus and rushed over to the kitchen, his big white wings knocking some of the frames from the wall in the process. Whoa, what's going on here? Akashi groaned, frustrated. He wasn't sure what even started the argument anymore. It was just the fact there was so much secrecy, keeping him in the dark. It's nothing. And what? Were you on the roof again? The Fae had gone into the habit of perching out on the roof of their home, looking out for any signs of anything out of the ordinary. Given there was no response from Bokuto, the human stepped past them, irritated beyond belief. The worst part was, he didn't even know where this anger came from. This was something both Koro and Bokuto had been doing for the past 2 years, so why was this just now bugging him? Both you and Tetsuo are unbelievable. Stop treating me as if I will wither away from nothing. Keiji, you know we mean no harm when we do this. We do this because of what happened last time? Letting out a bitter laugh, Akashi dropped his hands in defeat. Maybe if he was actually told what happened in the past, things would be different. Maybe he could understand why they were so on edge. You know what? Fine. You two continue what you're doing. Just don't talk to me. A pair of crimson and gold eyes widened in unison, in disbelief of what came from their lovers' lips that once sung a special tune just for them. The calm melody was replaced with a loathing hatred. Whoa, Keiji, what's going on? Yeah, can't we talk about this? The smaller shook his head multiple times and walked away, needing a moment to wrap his head around things and, most importantly, to cool down before he did or say something he'd regret. He stormed up to the bedroom, shutting the door closed, not before Kenma slithered inside and hopped onto the bed, getting comfortable in the silky sheets. The Neko was probably the only one who hadn't treated him like he was made from porcelain glass. Yet Akashi was convinced that maybe it was because the blonde was always too busy napping to do much. He couldn't help but let out another bitter laugh, watching Kenma's tail wrap around him protectively, his ears flickering in content. Just what did he do in the past to make all 3 of them so on edge? All of those questions could only pile up, and not a single one would be answered. They endlessly piled into the void of the forgotten. That concludes the first part of this. Obviously I did plan for it to be more than one part. This adds another series to my list, which is not a problem because I have a special place in my heart for this series, except I think it might be more than what I originally planned, which happens far too much. Oh no. Honestly, just don't be surprised if it's Valentine's Day and you're getting the finale to this Halloween special. Anyways, If you'd like to go ahead and jump past all of the wait and become a member and watch the second part, because by the time this is out, there should be a second part available to members. Yeah, become a member. Join and explore all of the extra perks you're able to get, including the early access. And I am terrible at promoting my own stuff, so I would like to give a special thanks to 3 of my brand new members: Sophia Yang, Gabaru, I probably butchered that, I am so sorry, and Pats. Welcome to the Deckers. Yeah, enjoy all this early access content that I'm totally slacking on, but we won't talk about. And I will see you all later.